Hello, this is your 14.12 tutorial. To begin, we'll start with pressing the A button at the top. Go to New. From here, you want to load your McFatter template files. Mine location may vary from yours. Mine are stored in my documents. Should be saved in a McFatter template folder. We're going to be using the McFatter ACAD template today. Now, for easy use of the video, I'm going to turn off the grid. I'm also going to insert an example of the drawing that we're going to be working with. You do not have to do this. All right. So our lesson for this is this has to be drawn and drawn in a cavalier view. The cavalier is going to be at 45 degrees back with a full dimension. I'll show you what that means after we draw the this multi-view. So I'm going to start with the circles. Radius at 1.12. And then we have a tolerance here. I'm going to use the largest tolerance, and then I'll add the other dimension afterwards. Set that diameter. And draw a line from here. You want to straight across at 2.62. Then from the center down to the bottom is going to be 1.62. Then I'm going to come back across 5.24. And that 0.5. I'm going to bring this all the way across. And I'm going to use the copy command here to copy this up, 0.62. I'll bring my line from my quadrant straight down. Remove these extra lines. Oh, that one's going to need to be trimmed. So let's use the trim command. Selecting this line as a cutting plane to cut this line. I'll use these two side lines to cut this and this. But while I'm in the trim command, I might as well get rid of this one as well. Now for this one, I'm going to cut the outsides. And then I'm going to cut the inside, but on the bottom. Then I'm going to cut the circle. And there's pretty much our top view already. Just highlight this, and I'm going to move it up just a little bit. Now, this drawing can be a little bit deceiving. The way that I would describe this, even though I said it's top view, I would actually refer to this as a front view, and the drawing that's going to be underneath it will be a bottom view. Okay. Let's go ahead and project our lines down now from here. And I'll draw our line across. And we'll copy this straight down. The thickness is 1.5. And I'll trim out all the excess lines. Now, this one's a very deceptive. We could zoom in a little bit and look at this. But when we look at this, they're doing a very bad faux pas. What they're doing is they're covering the hidden line that's here with center lines, or at least gives the illusion that they're doing that. Okay. So let me go ahead and give you that example. I'm going to project what makes the hidden lines going across this way. Now, you can see, do the trimming so that these aren't in the way. And I'll change these to hidden. That this surface and this surface are at different elevations. They're distinguished between this line right here. In order for to see this line, that means that this surface or this surface would have to be further out than the other. Since the base going all the way across is this piece, one would be able to deduct from the information that this is the full base of that surface, which means that this has to be the foreshortened view that's smaller or at a different length than the other one. And when we look at this, there's a hole going through that, right? So when we project those lines, one would assume that they go all the way through. But what the drawing shows us is that there's a 0.75 here, not just for the holes, but for where that round is, because the hole only goes through part of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a line here, copy it up at 0.75. And we'll use the trim command. Selecting these, this, and the hidden lines to cut these away, and to cut these away. And this all gets changed to hidden. So this right here is where this surface is, this body. Okay. Now let's put the holes in. Let's put a center line in, going from here straight across. And we'll copy that. 1.88. And then end that. I'll select this line and copy it to our left at 3.76. should have kept this for a little bit longer, but I didn't. So I'm going to draw 2 lines from here out, just so I can locate my center, and draw the diameter at 0.65. I'm going to copy that. Now get rid of the extra lines. Let's go ahead and put my center line in. I'm going to use my standard trick of making sure they get a nice clean pot. But one thing you'll notice that's different from the drawing versus what I'm doing is I'm making sure it's in the middle of that. Oops, I drew a line now. I moved. Let's grab that snap, move it there. This is where the center line for the circle is. So that's where I'm putting this. Get rid of this. Now they do have an annotation going from the center line or something. Yeah, center line in for that. See, center mark, circle, circle, and a big circle. Now I will change this to annotate. Now, in looking at this, we need to make sure we fix our dim style. So DIM dim style, modify, and under our primary units tab, we're going to change our decimal placement to 2 places, and that updates the dimension. And then I have a linear dimension going from here to there. And that makes the axis of that center line right there, that dimension. It's much better to have the center mark in the middle of the cylinder that you're marking. All right, let's put these hidden lines in before I forget. Speaking of forgetting, I've realized that we haven't saved our drawing. Might be a good time to do that. Put these in. Use the trim command, selecting these 2 edges as cutting planes, and that one as well. And we'll cut away. Now we'll go ahead and save. The save button. Make sure you save it in a good location. Gene.12. And we'll save it. Now that it's named, if something goes wrong, you'll be able to recover the drawing. All right, let's go through, see what other dimensions we're missing. Overall linear. Let's make sure we put that in the right layer. U for Anna. Let's also put in our missing center lines. We do have a couple of those missing. Copy. Remove these extra lines. This is actually going to look better if I go the other way. Let's go from the top down. Make sure I hit the right one too. Really good. Also help if I use the right layer. So I'm going to select these two, change them to Anno. Hit the escape key and make sure my current active layer is Anno. No. Here to here. Diameter dimensions for this hole here, which we need to add the note 2 times. It's a capital X. And let's get the one over here, which we're going to have to adjust. This is 3 places, so we're going to go to Properties. Change its primary units, precision, to 3 places. And we need to add... Oh, let's also turn off the center mark. So center mark to none. Same thing with this one. Center mark to none. Okay, let's put this dimension in here. This is going to be a diameter or radius for this arc. We don't want to see the center mark for that one either. All right, looking good. Now let's go ahead and save. And then now we can start our Cavalier drawing. To make our life easy, I'm going to turn off the Ano. It's your current layer. The message will pop up asking me to turn off the current layer. I'm going to change my layer to object. Then I'll make sure the rest of the layers are off. I don't want anos, and I don't need centers either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this very front view. I'm going to copy it and bring it over to the side. Now, we've discussed that this view is going to be the very front, and this view will be further in the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to move it out of the way. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll move it on the actual angle. We'll do that after. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this out of the way. And we will start with our projection lines. So, when drawing a Cavalier drawing, any lines that are on the side will be going in this direction at a 45-degree angle. So the length, okay, is the same as the depth that it is. The depth it is 1.5. So we type in 1.5. Then we hit the tab key. That brings us the angle and make it 45. And there's that depth. So we'll take this, we'll copy it, and bring it to every corner that's going to drop back. Can't see that one, so I'm not going to worry about it. This one right here will be underneath the front surface, so I'm not going to copy that. This will also be foreshortened on the top here, but we'll fix that later. Now, as we were discussing before, we want to go ahead and go back with that. So the difference in depth as we can see here, from here to here, 75. So I'm going to move, select this and these two edges, go to the center, be careful of this extra line, click the center, and move in the direction I want to go in. Distance is 0.75. Tab. Diagnostic input is not working with this. That's fine. I'll draw it then. One way to skin a cat. So length is 0.75. Tab. And then the angle is 45. Enter. So now I know that this whole thing here needs to move from this point to that point in the back. Okay, that did take those two lines with it, these two edges. That's fine, we can fix that. And we won't be able to see these little lines here, so we'll trim those out. At least we'll trim this one out for now. I'm going to leave this one here because that will be at the back. Matter of fact, we can go ahead and do that now. Select, I don't need this line here, so I'm not going to copy it. Use copy command. And I'm going to copy it from where it's at right now and push it all the way in the back. Then I'll use the trim command to cut this away because it doesn't exist there. And this is going to cut this because this doesn't exist. All right. Now I just need to close off a couple things. Bring this across and down. I'm going to take this edge and bring it across. I'm not going to see too much of that, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Use trim command to cut these away. I do also need a line going from here straight across. Start going through and selecting all these items, making sure that they are object layer. Now we need a tangent from here to there. So we're going to use the shift right click, get our tangent, select somewhere on the edge of the circle, then hold the shift right click, go to tangent again, and pick the tangent on that side. And that's going to make our vanishing point for the edge of that cylinder. Use it as a cutting plane to cut away at this. And this hole, I can see inside this hole. Get this out of the way. So this opening here, I'll be able to see out of the piece. So what I'm going to do is going to use this circle as a cutting plane to cut this circle away. And there it goes. So the majority of this is complete. Next thing we have to worry about is for our circles. They're on these surfaces. To begin with that, what I'm going to want to do is take my lines that I have here and copy, placing them along those hidden lines. And I'm going to draw a line. To the center is 0.75. Let's do a line here. 0.75. Tab 45. I'll draw a line going straight across here. Let me change this to a center line so we visually can see it. Oops, centers are off. Let me go ahead and turn centers on for now. Notice that you won't see any of the annotations or center marks here, but you will see all your center marks here. While they were being copied and moved, they were not being affected because they were off. Now from here, let's go ahead and find out what the radius of those circles are. 0.65. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you, I can't do the offset. No, I can't do that. Let's just do a dimension. From the center to here. 0.3, but let's check the precision. Primary units. I'm going to change for this dimension to go a little bit higher. All right, we can see that it's 0.335. So I'm going to do a line from here, 0.335, tab 45, enter. And this is going to be the top of the circles or back side of the circles, either or, however you want to look at it. Then I'll do a line from here, going in this direction. Now this is going to be a little bit interesting. We're at 45, so I have to add the 90. So let's do the distance first. Distance was 0.335. 0.335. Tab. Now I know it's already at 90, so I'm going to add 45 to 90. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's going to be 130. Be 130. 35, right? 35. Enter. I'll draw that line straight across. I could use the align dimension to check. Make sure I got that right. All right, excellent. Now, the reason why I drew these as hidden lines and not, or excuse me, I drew these as solid lines and not circles, because I have to know where the limit of this is. I can't use ISO circles to the normal way we would use it for ISO, and I cannot use circles. So I have to use a mixture of ellipses with a box, and I'll show you how that works. Let me trim this out so we get an understanding of what we're talking about here. So if our circle was a square, this is what it would look like. Get rid of these extra lines. Actually, you know, I'll use them. Let's go ahead and do copy. Grab the center point. Spot. Escape. Draw a line from corner to corner. Do the same thing on the other side. Highlight those extra lines. Get rid of properties. Copy from the endpoint to the center and to the other center. This. This. All right, so now we're gonna get rid of also. Let's get rid of this here. Don't need that number. Now let's go ahead and draw the ellipse. You want to make sure you're at axis end. We're going to go to this corner, to this corner, and then to this corner. Okay, that's pretty much sets it to the size of the box from the corners, not from the flats. Then what we're going to do is going to rescale this. So you're going to use the scale command, select the command, select the circle we want to resize, right click, find its center, boom. Now it says to reference because it's asking for the size of the piece, but you can see it's not exactly the same as the edge. And we want the edge to line up with the edge. So what we got to do with that, we're going to use a reference. We're going to say from here to the circle, and then we can shrink that circle in to the box. Boom. We now have our perfect circle on a cavalier surface. Select this. I'll use the copy command. Bring this across to here. And I'll get rid of the lines. All right, we haven't saved in a while, so let's make sure we save. Now let's go ahead and get this ready for printing. Let's go ahead and set up our sheet. I'm going to jump straight to 11 by 17. Click in the center of the scroll button. Let's double click in here. Let's make sure our dimensions are on. Let's take this out. I want to make sure that this, and these, I'm going to make sure that they are object. Same thing with these. Object. All right, let's turn on our dimensions. Turning on the light bulb. And just a little bit cramped in here. Let's move this guy. Turn ortho off for this. Yours might vary. Oh, I missed the line. I can fix it. Get about here. Just so it's not right on top of my dimensions. All right. I'll put the center scroll button to zoom it in. And then we'll change your scale to 1:1. And that looks quite lovely. So at this time, we'll save the drawing. You guys will then fill out your name right here, the sheet 1 of 1, project, scale, and date. We'll then go ahead and print this out. Go to print, continue single sheet. And if you use the correct template, it'll be saying drawing to PDF, monochrome. We can preview it and make sure we like what we see here. Looks good. I'm going to exit that. At this stage, you'll hit the OK button. It'll then prompt you to save it as a PDF. Make sure you keep your PDFs in a good location so you have backups of all your work. And then you will submit your work according to the guidelines provided by Mr. Regas. This has been your 14.12 tutorial, and I'll see you in the classroom. Goodbye.